I will show you how to create this environment in Unreal Engine 5 step by step. We will start off by using the model we created in the previous tutorial. So if you don't have it, I'll put a link in the description for you to download and follow along. We will start from the very beginning, how to create a scene and block out our environment. You will learn how to use the modeling tools to quickly add models to your scene without leaving Unreal. Then you will learn art fundamentals to set dress your level and have a nice looking environment. You will learn lighting, post-process, and finally, we will optimize the environment and add collisions to make it playable. Learn to create an action game in Unreal Engine 5. Start the first lesson for free at unfgames.com. So let's create the environment, but before that I need to make sure that you know how to navigate inside Unreal. If you already know, feel free to skip this part. If you don't, stay with me, I will guide you. So first is this window here is the viewport. The viewport is basically the representation of how your game will look like. So let's see how you can navigate here. If you right click, you can hold right mouse click and you can just move around like this. Okay. Now you can press, while holding the right mouse click, you can just press W and you can move. And just like this, kind of like a spaceship where you hold the right mouse click and you can move around. Now you can use WASD to move around, kind of like a first-person game or any kind of game actually. You just move with WASD as usual, okay? Just by holding the right mouse click, okay? The next one is the left one, so I can just move around like this, okay? I can just move it a little bit like a spaceship like this. Personally, the right mouse click and the WASD is my favorite way of navigating in Unreal. The next one is with the scroll wheel. You can zoom in and out just like this. Now let me add some objects here. Here you have some options. I don't need you to learn all of those. Just check this green plus icon here. You can go to shapes, for example, and you can hold the left mouse click and drag it here. Now, if you want to zoom in into the object, instead of navigating like this, you can just press F. And just by doing that, you will zoom in to the object, okay? So, what else you can do? Well, you can click on an object and you will see that you have these handles here like move, rotate, and scale, okay? And you can see there is a shortcut here with W, E, and R. So I can use W, E, R, okay, and toggle between different transformation modes. So I can just click here, up, just like this, or go to this one, or I can click here and rotate, okay, or I can go here to scale, or I can just press E, R to scale, W to move, and Q to just select the object without any handle, okay. The next one is the world and local coordinates. By default, it should be the world. So what I mean by that is that if I rotate this object and I try to move it, you will see that I have the world coordinates. Here in the bottom left corner, you will see the coordinates of the world. If you don't see it, maybe you need to press G to toggle the game mode, okay? So in this case, if I want to move this into this direction and I want to be more accurate, I can just press the normal and it will move along the normal of this object, just like this, okay? The next one is the snapping. So I can just click here and change the snapping like 500, for example. I can just go here and I will snap the object, okay? By default, it's just 10. So it's very useful when you want to snap things together, like be very precise. But if you don't want it, just click here. The same for the rotation and the scale. You can just snap like this, like 10 degrees, and you can just click here to change what degree you want. Here you can change the scale and so on. The next one is the camera speed. Of course, we have a very big world here. So if I increase this to, for example, 6, you will see that I move much faster, okay? So I go back to 4 and you see it's moving very slowly. So what I can do is just, while moving, use the scroll wheel up to go faster and down to go slower. And this is my favorite way of navigating inside Unreal, just by using the right mouse click, scroll wheel to increase the camera speed and decrease it with the scroll wheel. Okay, next thing is the property panel here. You can just check the properties of this object. As you see, as I move the object, these numbers here on the right will change. Then that means we're changing the location in the x-axis. If we move all of them, you will see that all of these move. But you can also go here and move it along any kind of axis. And you can even type something like 12,000, for example. And I can just type the number I want. Same with the rotation, same with the scale. So basically, this is the transform. Then you have a bunch of properties here, like the static mesh, which is the 3D model, and then the materials, which is the basic material you have. Okay, we won't go into this right now. The next thing you want to do is to know about the outliner. The outliner is a collection of objects that are in the scene. Okay, so if I click this cube, for example, you will see that it highlights the cube here. Okay, so you can move things around and everything. And if you don't find it, try to search for the cube. For example, you can just use the search bar, use type cube, and click on here. And there you go. So now we can click on the cube. You can click on any kind of actor here. Okay. The next thing is the view modes. By default is the lit mode. Or you can also go to unlit, which is with no lights. Go to wireframe, go to detail lining or lining only. And you can see you have the shortcut here for Alt 4, Alt 3, Alt 2. I will toggle between these two, like Alt 3 and Alt 5, Alt 4, just to check how my game looks in different kinds of scenarios. That's pretty much it. So once you know this, you already know pretty much the basics of how to navigate in Unreal. So before moving forward, you need to know what is the content browser. So if I just press Ctrl space, you will see that I have a bunch of folders. Basically, these are the folders and all the content that I have in my in my project. I already have some of them here because we're going to use one of the meshes we did in a previous tutorial. Okay, but in any case, you will see something like content and maybe everything is empty or things like that. So what we're going to do is to just right click here and then create new folder, and we're going to call it like I don't know, story environment, something like that. Okay, so now that you have this, you can just add any kind of asset. Okay, so another way to access the content browser is just go to window, go to content browser, and you will see that I have another window here. Basically, I have more space and I can just click here and move it. Let me close this one. I can just move it in any place in my viewport. And if you have a second monitor like I do, you can just move it there and check your content browser there. Okay, pretty useful. So what we're gonna do is to go here to file, go to new level, and we're gonna create let's create an empty open world. Okay, we don't really need to do it, but just in case we're gonna create an empty open world if things get out of hands, which I don't, I hope they're not. So let's just click here. Do not save, you don't need to save anything. And you will see that everything is turned black. So now what we're gonna do is to add some lights. So to add some lights, you just need to go here to the green plus icon, and you will see that you have a light tab. Okay, you can just add like a directional light, for example, like the sun, and then you can go here to the green plus icon and go to like the sky atmosphere and start adding a bunch of actors. Let me delete those. What you also have, I already have it here, but let me close it. You have the window and then go to environment light mixer, and by default it will be like here. So what you can do here is just create all the necessary actors to create like a open space, like the skylight, the atmosphere light, the sky atmosphere, the volumetric clouds, and the height fog. So just by doing that, we already have something to play with. Now, by default, the world partition will be here. If you close your project and you see that there is nothing here, do not panic. You just need to select here, right click, and then load a region from selection. Okay, just keep that in mind. Let's go to the details panel, or you can press F4 if you want. Okay. A couple of things I will do here is go to the outliner and then go to the directional light. Make sure it's movable, then go to the skylight, check on real-time capture, go to our volumetric clouds and click on volumetric fog. Sorry, not volumetric clouds, exponential height fog. You can just click here. And now we have some fog, okay? That's up to you if you want. In my case, I just want to go here and save and go to my Tori environment and then just click my level 01, something like that, okay? It's like the level of your game. So now we are ready to create an environment. So before you create your environment, you need to have an idea of what you're going to create. I like to use PureRef. I tap it here. It's a free software that you can use to just copy and paste images here. You can use browse like this. In the previous project we did, we create this story that you see here. I will put a link in the description where you can download this asset, okay, so that you can follow along the tutorial if you don't have it. But in any case, we're going to create the environment now. So we have a bunch of images here, and maybe we want to create something like this. Or maybe something like this. Is very typical, like you put the Tori and then like a couple of trees and then just some objects around. Now, real life doesn't necessarily give us like the best results, so we're gonna apply some art fundamentals here to make it look better. But it's always a good idea to have your reference to start off. So for example, you have like these assets, and all this, and we're gonna use Megascans to create this environment, and it's gonna be very easy. Okay, so now that we have an idea of what we want to create, or we're gonna have like a Tori here, and then we're gonna have like a staircase maybe, and then we're gonna have some props here we can decorate the environment with. Let's jump off to Unreal to just basically try to create anything based on this reference. If you want one tip to improve your levels, just use reference and copy and then modify it applying the art fundamentals, which I'm gonna teach you in this video. Okay, so let's start, and let's start by creating a floor, so we can just put our stuff here and it just like it's not floating, right? So let's go here to the green plus icon and go to shapes and go to the cube and drag it here. So now that I drag it, I can just press R to scale, and don't scale it there, Control C to go back. Just do something like this, okay? Now that I have this, by default it comes with a material. I don't really like it, so let's just go to the default value here. So just everything just stay gray, and we can just move things a little bit, just like that. So now that I have this, I can just play here, okay? And as you can see, when I play around, I just move the camera, okay? This green plus green icon here that says play allows you to play your game. Now, I want a character, and I already have one, but if you don't, you can just click add feature or content pack, and make sure you put the third person. In my case, I'm gonna use this one. I really like third person games. I'm not really a fan of first person shooters. But if you want, you can use it. And I'm gonna choose this one and then click on add project, okay? And as soon as I do that, I have my third person folder here with some characters and everything. Now, by default, I cannot play with this character. So what I need to do is to go to the world settings and then go here and then put the game mode here, the third person game mode. It's basically the rules of the game, okay? So let's click play, and now you will see that I have my character here. Now if I move my camera, if you don't see your cube, make sure it's loaded, okay? Like this is a perfect example. Like this thing happened to me now. So I can just go here and then right click and load region, and you will see that I have load all the actors that are here. I can just even go like further and just load everything. Okay, so if I go put the camera here and I hit play, you will see that my character starts in different locations, and that's not usually what we want. So what we want to do is to go to the green plus icon and then go to basic and then put a player start. And I'm gonna put it like, yeah, there is fine. We can make it look pointed there. So now that I have this, no matter where I am, even if I'm here, I will just start the game there, which is good. So now that we have our player and our floor, let's add our Tori. I created like this blueprint that you can just put here. You can just drag and drop here. There you go. So this is another level where it contains my asset. If I double click on this, let me just save everything so that you can see what's going on. Let me press Alt 3. And you will see that I have my Tori here that we created in our previous tutorial. Remember that you can download this for free, okay? So here I have a bunch of actors like my blueprint, my lights, pretty much everything I want. So if I modify something here, it will change in the other level. Let's go to File, Open Recent Levels, and let's go to our level 1. Do not save. Okay. So now that we have this, we can just place it wherever we want. And it's very easy to move around things like this. Now, let's try to block out something. So if I check my reference here, I have like a door and some stairs. So we can try to do that, okay? So let's try to extend this. So instead of using this cube, I'm gonna delete it, okay? And I'm going to the modeling tab, okay? And remember, we have complete tutorials about how to use the modeling tools here. And if you want to learn how to model this one inside Unreal, we have a tutorial for that. I will put a link in the description. So let's just create a cube here, okay? Or better just use the cube grid. Click on the cube grid here, okay? So now, as soon as I do that, you will see a grid appearing here. So now what I can do is just select all the floor that I want, just like this, and I can just put the push or the pull if I want, okay? So I can just go here and drag, for example, these meshes here, and I can just press E to pull, like to pull the objects and drag them to the direction you want instead of this is the normals. And you can do something like you can put some pillars here if you want, something like that, and then press Q to put it down or up with E. This is a very fun way to just create meshes, right? You can use something like that. Let's take a look at our game. Like you have like maybe some trees or something. I don't know, something like that. Let's just click accept. Okay. And if you modify a mesh by mistake, make sure you click here. You don't need to click on any of these meshes here. Okay, so make sure you don't click on any mesh, otherwise you will modify the mesh that you have. Okay, so let's go back, and what we're gonna do is just create some stairs. So let's go here, and you see that I have some stairs. So I'm gonna create them. Okay, and I can just change the number of steps, like this, like the width of it, something like that. Okay, and then I can change like the number of steps, and to create something like that, for example, and just go like this and increase like the number of steps if I want. I'm just gonna go for something like this, like 20, maybe. Okay, and then click accept. Now that I have this, I can just basically I can extrude this out if I want. Like if I click here, you will see that I have extrude option. I can just click on this one and I can move this object like here. Okay, so now that I have this, I can just go back and just duplicate it a bunch of times wherever I want. You don't need to be super exact. But in any case, it's like we're having like the staircase like this, which is cool. Okay. What else do we want? Maybe we want something here, like some vegetation or things like that. We can definitely do that. Let's go back and grab a sphere and go here. Okay. And let's accept. Okay, let's accept. We're not gonna change anything from this. But now let's increase the size. Okay, just like this. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is, I'm not sure if it's gonna work or not, but it's worth the try. What we can do is just to go to the change the polygon. Okay, just go here to my remesh option here, and as I remesh, I will put something like 500. Okay, let's click accept. And now what I can do is go to the deform mode and then go to V sculpt. And what I can do now is change the sculpting tool to move. I can increase the size, something like this, and I can just move things around if I want. So I can just go back here and just create like a little tool here, like a little background here. I can just move it. I can just zoom out and move it a little bit, just like this. And feel free to play with this. Now I can just click accept if I want. So I can just go back here and accept. You know, I can just move it around and, you know, I can accept. Okay, and if I check the polygons with Alt 2, you will see that it's like a little bit messy. I can just go here and put the box wrap. You will see that I have my voxel polygons. I can just click like 32, something like that, and I will remesh everything. So I can just click here. I'm just showing you different ways that you can use to move things around. Another thing you can do, of course, is to press F4 to check the properties. This one says that the scale is like 7. You can go here and basically let's go to transform. Where is the transform tool? There you go. The transform, we can bake the rotation and scale and click accept. And now what we can do is to just move things around. Now you will see that my brush size is much bigger. So I can just move things like this if I want. Okay, click accept. And now what I can do is to go to that dynamic sculpt, and instead of, you know, basically deforming the mesh over and over, I can just create new geometry. I can just come back here and this will create new geometry for me, which is great. I can just go back here and just by doing this, I will create new geometry. Goes, have something like that. And then I can go back here and just create something, you know, any kind of form I want. I can just go back here and I can, instead of move, I can just sculpt, just like this. Sorry, not smooth. Go to sculpt. Where is it? Sculpt normal. And I can just reduce the size and I can just sculpt things here, just like that. Like this, you can have like a little slope that you can play with. Okay. Now that you have this, click accept, and you will see that you have a bunch of polygons. Let's remesh it again. Click here, remesh. Put something like, I don't know, 2000, maybe. Something very easy to work with. Okay, click on this one. And now what we can do is to go here to the lattice. Go by maybe 3 by 3 by 3. And if we do that, we can just grab these points here. Grab all the points. Just move them around. Now you see it's very linear. That's because the interpolation type is set to linear. So let me Control C. Now what I can do is go to cubic, and if I do this, you will see that it's like a little bit smoother transition. So I can just go here and grab all these points to move them around like this. Okay, just so that I can have something. Click accept. And now what I can do is just to duplicate it. So how do you duplicate objects in Unreal? Well, you can just hold this one, Alt and click, and now we have a problem. This is not mirrored, okay? And I can easily fix this. If I go here to the properties here, you see this axis here is the Y axis. If I put -1 here, you will see that I'm mirrored. I can put -1 to X. I can leave it at 1. Or I can put -1 here. And you will see how I can mirror freely between different forms. So I can just go here. And what I can do is to go to Mesh Duplicate to create another shape. So I can just click Accept. And you're duplicating this mesh. So now that I have here, instead of having something completely symmetrical, just like I have now, I can just go here to the lattice modifier, and I can just change some things. I can just go back to these points, for example, and I can just move them around like this. I can just move some things around, like make it like higher, move these things like this, move all the points just like this, and then you can have something a little bit different. Okay, now that we have this, now we have like a nice setup. We can just go here back to selection, make sure to save everything, go to file, with Ctrl+Shift+S you can save everything, and let's play our game. So now we have something to, something to play with, which is great. This stage of the process is called the blockout. The blockout is just the initial process, right? You want to layout things, you want to put things together, and try to figure out like what to put in your scene before, just dragging some meshes and everything. This is a very nice way to just figure out what you want to build. Okay, in the next stage, now you see that everything disappeared here. We're going to the world partition, and make sure you select everything, right click and select load region from selection. Okay, make sure everything is loaded. If it happens that you don't see your your meshes, they disappear, make sure you go to world partition. If you don't see it, it should be like window world partition and then world partition editor, and you can just load them. Okay, this is very useful for big environments. You don't really need to do that. If you don't like this, just go to new level and click on basic and you're good to go. But for my case, it's a good idea to show you what could happen to you if you just create like an open world. So we're gonna keep adding some blockout in our scene to make it look a little bit nicer. So let's continue the blockout of our environment. This is a way that you can use to block out like large forms in your environment. In my case, I feel like my composition will be something like this, where everything like is very vertical, right? And it has a sense of stability. Okay, I want to play with that. So in order to have the total feeling of this, I just need to go here, and let me just go here and duplicate this thing so I can just like have something there to play with, something like that. But there you go, much better. I can do the same here. I can just duplicate things and move them like this, just so that I have cover enough space for my environment. What I will do is just to figure out how it looks with the composition. So I will create a tree. So I will just go here to the selection mode, then go to modeling, and then go to the cylinder, click here. Okay, click accept. And what I can do is to go to the poly edit, click on this one, and then just go like this. Now, if I do something like this, let's check the size of the tree. Is this a tall tree? It is. But we can go beyond what reality is, and we can make something like super huge. Like we can make something like this, for example. Okay. Now, what else you can do? You want to put the roots, so you can just go to dynamic sculpt and then reduce the size and go here and put move. And then I can just go back here and just move things around. Let's just reduce the size to something like this. And you can just put something like this, right? Just so that you have something, right? Okay. So now that you have this, you also can taper your tree. You can just go here to the poly edit and then go here and just go something like this. So that's great. That's our tree. We can duplicate it, basically make it bigger like this. And now what we can do is just go to the mesh duplicate. Sorry, not mesh duplicate. Go to bake transform, and then just click accept. So now that I have my tree, I need to know where it is. So I will click on here, and it will show my content drawer. I will call it SM blockout 3. Okay. And now I want to put it here. So how can I do that? I will introduce you to the paint tool. So if I go to foliage, I can just drop my foliage here. I can control space and then just go back to this one. And then click save and I will create a foliage type. So now what I can do is to go here and basically paint. And you will see that all my trees are aligned to the normals of this surface. So if the surface is like this, for example, my tree will be something like that. And I don't really want that. So if you want to delete, just hold shift and you will see that it changed here to erase. And I can just click here. Now, in order to change this, I can just go here to these properties and uncheck align to normal. And the next thing I can do is just to change the scale. By default is uniform. So I can just go here and type like from 1 to like 2 maybe. Okay, let's click again. And now you will see that you have like different sizes for the trees. Now, everything is like together. So I can just increase my brush size and let's see what happens. Now everything feels like together. So what I can do is to reduce the paint density here to paint less. And I can just go here and I can just paint like this. I can just reduce the intensity here by clicking on this tree here. And then the density here, I can just reduce this value to 10, for example. Now I can paint and I will have like different results. I can just go back here and just paint like different trees. Okay, I can just go here and, you know, keep painting and painting just like that. So now that I see my environment, I can see exactly how it will look with the trees here. And I can just shift click here. I can just keep putting these things here. Okay, I can just shift click on this one. And what you can do is to go to the single instance mode and just click here. And you will only put one if you want. So I can just go here and, you know, put like some big trees here. Okay. That's great. So this will give us a lot of flexibility. If you want to move some things, you can just select some of those and just move them. Just like this. Okay. Just by doing that, let's get out of the paint mode. Now we can play our level. And we don't really need this mesh anymore. We can play our level. Now you will see that everything is starting to look like gigantic, which is part of our composition, right? This is what we want. What else do we want? Well, we want to add some verticality into it. So what we can do is to go to modeling and go to poly edit and then just change this by going here. Just something like that. And what I can do actually is to copy one of these by holding Alt and click. And I can just, you know, put them like this if I want to see if like this is something I'm looking for. Let's see, something like this maybe. Not really. If I don't like this, I can use Control C. And let's go back to this one. We're gonna stay with this one, but what we're gonna do is to make sure we have enough space. So let's go to the poly edit. Let's just move this thing like this. And then let's move this thing like this. There you go. So now you have a very stable composition. Let's take a look at how our game looks like. If you want to take a look at the bigger screen, just press F11 and you will be able to see everything just like this. Okay, so now we can play. And what we can do now is to play with our composition. We can actually do something like this. We can Control Alt and click. We can have like different stories here. And we can Alt click, sorry, not Control. Alt click and then move it around. And just put it in position here. And look what happens now is that I have like different stories here that I can use for my environment. That's great. Now we want to add a little bit sense of depth. So what we're gonna do is to try to find our fog. So if I go here, let me try to find my fog. If you don't find it, go here to search fog, exponential height fog. And here you can just put volumetric fog. That's okay, that's what you want. And then let's just try to play with a light with Control L. You can just move things around like this. The lighting can really change all your environment. Okay, so make sure you have something like interesting. For example, something like this if you want, or maybe you want some shadows like here. Something like this, for example. Okay, and then let's go to the height fog and we can increase the fog. We can increase the fog density. Okay, and we can also go here to the extinction scale and we can put something like this and reduce the fog density. Without the fog, you know, it looks very plain. So we can do that. And also we can just change the albedo if we want, or we're gonna take a look at all these things later. So now that we have this, it's time for us to get out of this blockout feeling. Now we know what kind of, what kind of scene we're going to make. Let's go to the foliage again and let's just click on this one and move it around. Just like that. I find like maybe it can be a good idea to move this thing like here, just so that it's more connected to our scene. Let's just play from here. It looks much more interesting in my opinion. Okay, now that we have this, let's just add some objects like some Megascans to decorate our environment. Okay, so I'm gonna add some floors, but before that, I don't really need this anymore, so let's fix this. Let's just go to modeling here, and then go to the cube grid, and then let's just push this like this by pressing Q. And do the same here, and do the same here. We don't really need them anymore, so just like that. Press Q, and there you go. Now that we have this, let's just click accept. And what I want to do is to put some meshes here like a ground floor. Okay, so we're gonna do that by using Megascans. So let's control space here and then click add, and then add pixel content. And by default you will see this. Okay, if you want to add assets, you just need to click here. For example, you can add a new material. You can select in the bottom right corner the quality, and then you just click the add button. Okay, and then you will have it in Unreal. So I download a bunch of assets here. You can see that I have like some Japanese assets that we will use. And what I did was just to click them, and then, you know, if you don't see the add button, if because you don't have that quality of the dynamic mesh, you can just click add here. And then you will have this folder that you see here. Okay, all these assets here are stored here. So what I want to do is to grab some floors here. And we're gonna replace this because this doesn't really look well. So we're gonna go here to the Megascans folder. And you can see here that I have some filters. So if I go to static mesh, I remove it because I already have it. I can just reset it. Okay, I can go here and go to static mesh. And now you will see all the static meshes that I have. Okay, for the floor, I'm looking for something like this. For example, I can drag this thing. This looks like promising, so we can just go ahead and, you know, put some things here and there, like something like that, and then like grab this mesh. This one is very small. Let's grab another one. Like grab this mesh here, rotate this, or grab another one, rotate it again, and just duplicate things around until we get something we want. That's gonna take a long time, and there is an easier way to do it. So what I will do is to grab one of this, for example this one, and we're gonna delete those. We don't really need them. Okay, so we're gonna grab this thing here and we're gonna put it here, and what we're gonna do is to go to the modeling tab, and then we're gonna select pattern, and by default it's gonna select a line that we can use. I don't want that. I want a grid, so I'm gonna select the grid, and you can see that I already have like my grid using these assets here, which is great. Now these assets are a little bit smashed together, so we can increase the count. Like for example in 10 we can have like 13, and then like 13 here, which makes them very small because the extent of the x-axis it's very low. So we can just go here and try to put this thing here just like that, and then we can try to do the same here and just put them like that. There you go. So now we have like a floor, so we can extend the y-axis to something more, like for example like this. Yeah, something like that could work for us. Okay, let's go back and remove the x. Okay, another thing you can do is to change the seed values. If you change, you can have some rotation and scale and this kind of thing. For example, you can have the end scale like 2, and what you will have here, it's basically different scales in different positions. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, so start translation, start rotation. Like start translation, you can even go like 200 here, and then you will see that you have like everything starts low and then goes up and up and up. If you want to do that, we're not gonna play with this anymore. What we're gonna do is to just put here separate actors, so that when we finish the pattern, when we accept, all the actors are independent. So as you see here, all our static mesh actors are now basically they are selected. We can just move them around if we want. Okay, so now we have a base floor. Let's go ahead and just remove this one. So now what you can do here, it's basically go here and just rotate things around. For example, you can select a bunch of these objects. Go to the local mode here and just go rotate. Actually, it's gonna rotate around all these axes, so we can just rotate some of them. Let's rotate the ones that are gonna like be closer to the camera, right? It's still a little bit of work, but you know, that's better than, you can also scale some things. For example here, you can also scale it like this. You can scale some of them like this. You can rotate around 180 degrees, things like that. Keep rotating things around until you have like enough variation. You can do the same here, and if you want to cover these areas, we can just go here and just, you know, duplicate them, and we can just rotate around these things. We can increase the size on everything, and that's great. Now if we want to add more variation, we can just come back with control space. We can open our content drawer and we can just put some things here. Like for example, I can put this one here. Let me H for height, delete this one, and just, you know, just put it here. Okay, and I can do the same here. Like for example, in this area, we're having like a different pattern. Let me H this one. Let's put this one like this here. We can rotate around. Okay, and you can like put it here in position. If you don't like the pivot point, you can always change it. But anyway, we're just gonna do it very roughly. We can just delete this one, rotate 90 degrees, move it here, do something like this. And as you can see, as soon as I do that, like, you already have a lot of more, you know, variation that you can just play with, right? And I can do the same here. I really don't need this because my shot will be like from here. But keep in mind, like just game development is like this. Sometimes it's just repetitive tasks that you need to do over and over and over again until you achieve the result you want. So that's just part of it. Don't get too excited about game development. It also has some repetitive tasks that you need to do regardless you like them or not. I can just grab another one of this. For example, this one, I can just scale it. I can just put it here. Okay, and I can just play with this even more. I can just go here and grab some stuff here. That's great. So now that we have some floor, we're gonna take a look at this blockout because as soon as you add something here, you really start like everything like it's a blockout. Like it's not really matching anymore. It's actually distracting me from my final view of what the image will look like. So let's replace this tree with some Megascans too. Okay, so let's gonna add some trees, and we don't need this anymore. So what we're gonna do is to go to the landscape, sorry, not landscape, go to the foliage mode, and then just go here, and you can even replace it with something else. So let's try to do that. We're gonna put these trees that I grabbed from Megascans. If you go here, you find the hornbeam tree and the Japanese cedar. Okay, these are great. So I can just either go here and delete it, and I will delete the instances. I don't need them anymore. I'm gonna just grab these two here and save. So now I can just go here and paint some trees. Okay, I'm gonna select both of them, and what I will do is to change the align to normal off. The Z offset will be like -10. And let me check how it looks like. Okay, much better. So now that I have this, I can just increase the brush size. And you see, I have a lot of trees. Let me just decrease the brush size again. And now I'm gonna change the size from maybe from 5. Let's start with 5. Let's do it taller, like maybe 8. Let's see. Okay, so it kind of works. So let's try to have super big trees, like from 12 to 15. Let's go for something like this. Okay, 12 a little bit too much, maybe, or maybe it is, but let's just go for 12 and 13. And also, you can put the free one. You can put everything on 12. But this one, we can basically put like, to make them thinner, 8 by 8 by 8 in X and Y. Okay, so that looks better. Now we can try to change the density to 10. Try to paint it. Okay, this is kind of what we're looking for. Let's drop the density to maybe 5 or something like that. Awesome. Great. Now I want it to be very tall so that when I play my game here, I don't see like the top of them. Okay, so let's paint again. Let's go to foliage, and now let's shift click here, select both of them, and then I'm gonna make them like maybe 15 by 18. Let's see if that works. Almost. Let's go for 17 to 20, like super big trees. There you go. Something like that, and remove some parts if you don't really like find them. You can go to the single instance mode here. You can just click wherever you want your trees, something like that, and you can just place them along this line here, which is great. Just place one here, and here you can just keep putting more and more assets. There you go. So now when I play my game, I see all these big trees, which is good. I mean, we're gonna add some other trees later, but for now, what we're gonna do is to go to the foliage and select and just try to modify these ones a little bit. Like for example, this one, we can just move it around. Or not this one here. For some reason, I'm moving another one. Let's just put the lasso and remove, and then go to single instance, and then just go here and here and here. Okay, that looks nicer, much nicer. We can also, like, instead of putting here, we can just paint here, and then just let's put single instances all over the place. There you go, something like that. So now that we have this, we have something nicer to work with. Like now we don't have these things here. We can remove this tree later. Okay, so now we can just control shift 1, delete this mesh here, and that's great. So the other thing that I want to put some materials here, and I'm gonna show you how to put some UVs and everything. So to put a material here, I first need to download a material. So if I go to bridge, I believe I already have some materials download, like this one, like the grass. So if I go here to my Megascans, let me filter this by material and then go to material instance. And then I'm gonna go for my surfaces. And looks like I don't have it, so I can just go here and add it. And I only need the medium quality. So if I go here, go to surfaces, let's open this one. You can see it's here. So let me save everything. And now what I can put, it's this one here. Put all this, I can select both of them and drag it and put it like here. Just put them like this. There you go. So why it looks like this? Because we don't have UVs, and how we're gonna fix this is we can just go here and go to modeling. There are a bunch of ways we can fix this. We can, for example, go here and go to auto UV, and this will give me like automatic UVs, which is nice in my opinion. If you want to check how your texture looks, go for the original one. Now you can see it's super big. Okay, and if you see the layout, it's something like this. For me, it looks fine, so we're gonna keep it. Let's accept. And we're gonna do the same here. We're gonna go to auto UV, accept, and now you have something to work on. Now the problem with this is that the grass is super big. So what we're gonna do is to go here and go to layout, and instead of putting repack here, I'm gonna transform, and then I can change the scale to like 5. something like that, or maybe 8, or maybe 12. Yeah, 8 looks like a nice number. It's still a little bit for me, so let me just put 15 or 20. There you go. I think that's much better. Now you see the tiling here, but it really doesn't matter because we're gonna add some meshes here. So I just want to have something to work with. So we can just go back here, and now this one we can do the same. We can use layout with a number of 20. Let's see how it looks with 10. Yeah, like the size of the rocks are fine, but not really for the for uh, for the grass. So we're gonna keep the grass like that just for now. Later we're gonna add more grass. But now that we have this, that's great. Now we have something more representative of what we want to achieve. The next thing is we're gonna deal with these stairs. So let's do that now. So before doing the stairs, let's try to add this grass here. So what we're gonna do is to grab this thing here. And now what we're gonna try to achieve, let me just go to modeling and go to the poly edit and put this thing down, just like that. Okay. What I wanna do is just to go to do a remesh. Something like that could work. Okay. Then go to accept. And what I can do is just to move things around. So if I go to my vertex sculpting, I can just go here and move things around, and you will see that I'm moving things. Now material mode, existing material to check how it looks like. So I can just shift click here, and I can just move things around, and shift click, just move things out, and I can do the same here. You saw that I have some more transitions, Okay, I can even put it like down, move this one up, then move this one down, and then shift and everything, just something like that. I can just move things here and then move things down, move things a little bit here, and shift click to smooth things out, just like that, and then put it again here, and then we can smooth things out, just like that. And you see, but just by doing that, we're already having a lot of more variation going on here. We can just increase like this size, do a lot with this, just something like that. We can just shift click. We can even go and sculpt like I don't know, we can just try to sculpt along the normal. For example, we can just do something like this. If that's something you want, that's okay. For me, I'm just gonna go for the move. Where is my move? Move. I lost it. Oh no. Move, there you go. And if you click shift, you will smooth things out. So what you want is to have like a transition between these two areas here. Something like that. And there you go. And then you can decrease the size and be more specific. Like for example, decrease the size. Like only this one's like here, and then you can smooth things out. Something like that. Just so that we have more variation in our environment, like this. Yeah, something like that. And we can always move it up and down, up and down. There you go. We can make this transition a little bit better by putting things like this. We can just move things a little bit now. You don't need to be like super exact. These kind of things are always nice when you like blend them together. Do not put too much. The idea is basically put like uh, this blending between these assets here. Like you see here that here is like grass and here is my floor. This transition needs to be more smooth in order to have a more believable environment. So this is what I'm trying to achieve here. And just by putting the textures, I'm already having much more variation. Just something like that, something very, very simple. And we can even make things more interesting by adding more meshes and things like that. Uh, for now, I feel like it's okay. Okay, so let's accept. And what we're gonna do is let's check the textile density. We can just play from here. So now I feel like it's a little bit like it's like a stretch like this. So we're gonna go to the selection mode, go to the modeling, select this one. And what we're gonna do is maybe we can put the auto UV and let's go to the checkerboard. This looks okay to me, so I'm gonna accept. And then I'm gonna change with the layout just like we did before. We could put something like 20 or 25, something like that. But notice that now we're not really stretching our polygons. They are very nice and uniform. So this is what you want. Okay. Let's go here and accept. And that's great. So now that we have this, let's try and deal with our stairs. So before putting the stairs, I wanted to add some trees just so that we don't have like naked trees on the level. And the fastest way is just go to the marketplace tab, then go to free, then go to the Megascans, and there you will find a lot of objects here. What's special about this is that you can find trees here that you won't be able to find in the Megascans plugin inside Unreal Engine. So what you need to do is just to click Add Project, and then go here, select the object you want, Add to Project, and that's it. So I already did that. So what I have here, I have this folder here called European Hornbeam. I know we're like in a Japanese setting environment, but to be honest, you won't be able to notice that much difference, right? You have this foliage folder here. So if I go here and go to the foliage, I can just grab all of this. Let me put the simple wind, and I can just grab all of this and then just drag it here. And as soon as I do that, you will see that I have a bunch of meshes that I can use. Okay, let me just uncheck this. And what I will do is just put a bunch of trees here. Like for example, these ones here. And I can put the single instance just to check how they work. And as soon as I click on this, you will see that I have my tree here, which is good. I can just place things around, and I can just basically put some trees here closer to my environment. So what I can try to change is the density. I can just put something like 10 or maybe 2, and then I can paint instead of applying the instance. I can also change the size from, like, for example, from 1 to 5. I can change the align to normal off, and the Z offset to -5 maybe, so just that it's like below the ground. So what happens if I paint here? Let me move this here. If I paint here, you will see that I have super big trees. Okay, I can just put maybe 3. 5 is a little bit too much, so I can just go back here and just paint around here. You can start painting like different types of trees. You can just put them here like that. You can just go back, start painting some trees here in the back. something like that. And as soon as you do that, your environment will look much better. So now that you have your trees here, you can just manually place some trees. You can even like put them here, or you can just go to the single instance and just click here, for example. And you notice that some trees have appeared. That's the reason is the shaders were loading. So I can just click here to erase, and then I can just use the single instance here just to click here. Like if you don't see the tree, maybe it's because the shaders are preparing. So now that I have this, I feel like it looks much better in my opinion. I can kind of fake this part. Now that's a lot of trees. So I will remove them little by little. But I cannot fake this. I can fake this part by just going here to the geometry and maybe just drag one of this and just put it here. You know, it's something like that. And I can just put something like maybe 5, maybe 4, 3. Like 3 might be a good number. So I can just go here and, you know, I can just do something like this. And I can do the same for these trees here. Let me put something like 2.5. Okay, so I can do the same here. For example, I can just drag and drop these things here. And notice that because we're using the 5.1 version, basically we don't have any problem with the FPS. Of course it's decreasing, but that's because my meshes are preparing, and as soon as they finish, everything should look much nicer. You see that I have a lot of shadow here, so I can just go here to my foliage, and then I can go to erase. I can erase some of them. I don't need that many trees, especially like here, for example, I have too many. I can just put something like this. Make sure you don't have much overlap. This is why I prefer to put like the single target. You can just click here, for example, and now you will have you know, much more control. Let me just change the size of this. I can just shift click all of them, and I can change like from 0.8 to 1.2. 1.2, there you go. And I can just click here, and now I can have like much smaller trees, which is what you want in a, you know, in environment. You want to have big trees and small trees. You don't want to have like, you know, everything is so big, then everything will lose its how to say, everything will lose importance. If everything is too big, then you will lose the sense of the scale in your environment. Now I can continue to paint some grass here. For example, I can just grab some of those here, and instead of putting single, I'm gonna put paint here, and I'm gonna change this density to 2, and the uniform from maybe 0.8 to 1.2, just to start off. Now let's see what happens if I paint. For example, here I have a bunch of objects here that I can just play with here. Something like that. Some smaller objects that I can play with. I can decrease the size of this to something like this. I can just put things like this, like the smaller ones. It's something like that. Okay, and now that we have this, now if we try to play with our lining, you will have a much more interesting result, because we're having like that lining from the trees, which is great. Now it's a little bit laggy because my meshes are like preparing, but once they finish, it will be much better. So you can play with the lining if you want. Depends on what you're looking for. And now these trees will give me a much nicer shadows. So let's replace these stairs. We're gonna do that very easy. We're just gonna go to bridge, and I have this castle stairs. Initially, I was thinking like maybe do something narrow, because if you take a look at the reference here, these things are a little bit narrow, right? And we can go for that look, but to keep our blockout basically pretty much don't change too much the blockout, we're just gonna use this castle stairs. So we can just grab this one here and rotate this like 90 degrees. Make sure Control C and click here to rotate this 90 degrees. Okay, and as soon as you do that, you can just try to scale it a little bit like this so that you have enough space. And now you can just hide this with H, and you can just duplicate this thing and put it like here. Okay, try to put it in position. You don't need to be perfect for this. Now you can grab this too, alt click, and then just duplicate it and move it a little bit more. Okay, just like that. Move it a little bit more here. All right, let's Control H to see how far we are from here. Okay, we're not that far. So let's just grab one more. Just like that. And put it like here. Control H. This looks good to me. So what we're gonna do is to basically delete this thing. And we're gonna do that by, let's alt click. Let's just move it up, okay? If you want to move the object up and you want the camera to go with it, just hold shift, okay? So now that I'm here, I can just press F to focus on this object. I can go to modeling, and I can just select the faces I extrude. So I can just select these faces here, just like that. And I can invert the selection here, and I can just delete this. Okay, now I can accept. And if I want, I can close the hole. I can just go here to the hole field and click here. And there you go. I have closed my hole. So now that I have this, I have this part of my mesh. I can just move it like this, for example. I can just put it in position wherever I want, just like something like this, for example. Okay, and now that I have this, I can just duplicate this thing. There's an easier way to do this, and I'm gonna do that by basically control click all of those. Okay, and I'm gonna right click and go to level and then create pack level actor. I'm gonna put this to let's see, we're gonna put the pivot point on this actor. So let's check this actor here. Actually, let's put it in the minimum z-axis. So let's just click on all these actors. Okay, and now that you have this, basically make sure you put this thing on the right side. There you go, something like that. Okay, select all of them, right click, level, create pack level actor, click OK, and here you can put where you want to save it. So for example, I can just create a new folder called mass. This is what we typically call this asset, mass stairs. And I can just create a blueprint folder, and I can call it BPP mass stairs. Now that I've done that, I just successfully create my prefab, if you want to call it that way. So let me just delete all these assets. And what I can do now is just go here and I'll click and just duplicate it and put it wherever I want. I can just put them here, for example. I can just go back here and put it in position here, just like that. And I can do the same here. I can just duplicate it by holding Alt and move it with the gizmo here. There you go. Let's put it something like this. And then we can move this thing up if you want. Okay, so you notice that here we have kind of like a blockout part of the mesh. We don't really want that. So what I'm gonna do is to replace it with some meshes. So what I'm gonna do is to go here, go to level and edit. And what I will do is basically go here to my Megascans and put static mesh. And I'm gonna find for some, some assets that I can put here. In my case, I may want to put something that I have put before in the ground. It can be either this one or another one. Let's just put this one. Okay, we can put this one here, and we can just duplicate this thing a bunch of times, just like that. Okay, and we can even scale it if we want to, put everything like into place. And we can just duplicate this thing and duplicate again, and we can scale it just so that you have something like this. And then you can just rotate, move things like this, rotate again, move it. And basically you're not gonna see this part, so I'm not gonna be too picky about it. But notice that all my scene just turned out gray. So what I need to do, I can just delete this part, and because this is an instance, it will update all my parts. So I can just go back here, right click, level, and then commit. And now you will see that all my actors have been updated at the same time. Now you see that I have a little gap here. Can easily fix this by going to edit. Maybe I can just scale this thing like this. I can just do something like this, for example. Scale it a little bit. And now I don't have any gap. So I can just go to level, commit, and that's it. Now all my instances have been updated, and I don't need to update each one of those. So when I play my game, let's just play selected. Oh, look at that. Now we have like a little game we can play with. That's great. Now the scene is starting to come together. Everything is starting to fit. What I want to do now is to basically put like more set dressing here, because at this point you don't want to have this kind of thing here. Like, it's very ugly. We don't want that. So maybe we want to put some assets here, and this is one of the most this is the fun part for me, is just like creating this set dressing environments. Once everything is locked down, we can just go ahead and make everything look much nicer. So what is the next step you need to do in order to make your environment look better when you have something like this? What you're looking for is to delete these kind of lines. These kind of lines are super ugly, like these ones here, right? Typically, the transition between two different meshes are not that great, especially when we're talking about low poly objects. So what you need to do is to just drag some meshes. This thing we have here was a placeholder, but we can mix it with other meshes. So I already download some objects here from Megascans. You can see here I have like a bunch of trees, basically anything with moss, and I have some props here and there. We're gonna use the nature one. You're free to download whatever you want. But in my case, I feel like I need like this kind of props here. So I can just go here and then just make them bigger, just like that. Okay, now let's take a look at another prop. We can always rotate this and put it like this in position. Okay, and let's take a look at another one. For example, this one. This one is also very nice. So we can go here and basically create something like this. Something like you have like, there is a slope here and you're trying to put it like this. So as soon as I do that, it already becomes much prettier in my opinion. So I can just go here, and if I want, I can just rotate this, put it down, And I can even blend this better by using some other meshes, such as this one, for example. I can just grab the floor and I can just start putting things around like this. Just like that. And I can just put it here. Something like that. Okay. And notice that because our floor, like this part is not too flat, we can go do something like this. For example, we can scale it, but still you still see the meshes here. If I go here and put it like, for example, here, you will see that it starts to hide in the ground. So in this case, what I like to do is to use the FFD modifier. Let's go here to modeling. And it's going to take a while because it's a very big mesh, but it works the big effort. So we're going to go here, and then we're going to lattice. And as soon as it finished downloading, you will put like 3 by 3 by 3. And you will change this from linear to cubic. And what you're gonna do is to basically round this like this. Make this something like that. Make sure you grab all the points. Looks like I have. Make sure you grab them all. And also you can grab all the points here from the corners to make it look even more obvious. I can just put them down like this. And just by doing that, we'll have a mesh that has a little bit of a slope. Now, it's much easier to use this now. We can go... Oops, don't do that. Control C. Let's grab these points here. And let's just move it up a little bit. You don't want to do it that much. So now that you have this, you can just click Accept. And as soon as you do that, it will load a little bit because it's a very, very, very heavy mesh. Now that we're talking about meshes, you don't really need to use the nanite version for everything. I feel like they are kind of overwhelming. The reason like Epic is doing this is because they are like merging different kinds of industries, like the production, you have the animation, you have like a lot of industries that are not related to games, that they don't really care much about performance. They care much about the look of it. And in the long run, like right now, people who make games are suffering a little bit, just like us. But in the long run, let's just say you have a vision here where you want to, just make everyone make awesome games. I believe in some years, manipulating this kind of objects will be much easier. As soon as I do that, I can just go back here and look what I have. I have like a mesh that I can blend nicely into my environment. So I can do the same here, and I can rotate. And I can start replacing, the ugly mesh that I had before. Basically, I'm trying to remove, the parts that are like a little bit low poly. For example, here, I don't really want this, so I will just go back here. And I can just rotate around and try to play with this, right? There are smarter ways to do this. Usually, like, you will create like a tool. You will create like something that makes your life better, or you can just copy them, like many of them, and just save some time here, just like this. Okay, and you can do the same here. You can just copy this here. Now that I have this, I can just put them like this. And now I can just grab one of my, for example, like these ones. I can just go here and I can just make them big, just like that. And I can just put it here. And I can rotate it a little bit. And I can just alt click and rotate a little bit. And if you see like this part is like floating, do not worry. This is why we have these meshes here. We can just go back here and just put them in position so that nobody will notice. And the same I can do here. I can just alt click these parts and I can just rotate them around. And basically the parts that are like this is like, oh, what do I do when the player goes and see this part? It doesn't matter. You just put another one until you close the hole. Let's just call it that way. You can even try to put like, usually for this kind of thing, I prefer to put like rocks or this kind of stuff. So in my case, I will just go ahead and maybe put like something like this. And I can just move it around. Yeah, something like that. And look at that. Just by doing that, we already have something here. What you can do now is just basically duplicate these objects that you have here and just play with them. You can just you know, copy them until you create like a little wall, you know, and then you can just grab one of these meshes like the ones we created here. For example, let's just use one. One tip I can give you is try to use as less meshes as possible. If you can achieve what you want with only one or two meshes, then go ahead. It's better to have like quality over quantity. The reason is it's gonna be much harder to deal with this kind of thing in the future when you want to, you know, change some things, you want to make things look better. Oh, you need to change so many assets. But if you have like only like a bunch of them, like you can just easily replace, and then you can change the whole environment much easier. So I'm just gonna keep duplicating these meshes here, just like this. There you go, something like that. Much better now. Now, as you can see, I'm already like having some nice transitions. I can do the same here. I can just go ahead and duplicate this thing. Okay, and if you don't want to see this part, very easy. We just grab one of these, and then we can just put it here. Let's just scale things like this. Now, Megascans are really nice, but sometimes the objects that you have don't really match, you know, the feeling that you want to convey to the you know, to the player. That's normal. So sometimes you will find that it's much easier to, you know, just try to change some meshes to basically, I'm just trying to talk and do it at the same time, and it's not going very well, but anyway, let's just try to remove this line. What I meant to say is that sometimes you can just change one mesh and you will change the whole feeling of your environment. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Now what you're looking here, it's basically you want to remove these lines here. This line here is horrible, right? This is what you are trying to remove, and we're doing that by just putting a mesh here. And just by doing that, we already have like a nice non-symmetrical line that we can put here, just like this. And this will just make our environment look better, okay? Now that I have this, I feel like I want to play with some rocks, so I will download some rocks, and I will show you where I will put them now. Okay, so I got the rocks. Let's just grab them here. Let's type boulder. If you want to know which one I use, it's just this ones here. It's like Japanese mossy boulder, another mossy boulder, and another mossy forest boulder. I put 3, but in reality, I think you only need 1. So for example, I can just grab one of these, and I can scale this, okay? And I can just put it in position here, just like that. Okay, and we can just rotate this around, play with this, and just try to blend it with the environment a little bit better. So that's nice. The cool thing about having these boulders is that you can rotate them, and typically you have like a new asset. So basically what I have here is like a cube that I can use. Like I have uh, I have this face, I have this face, I have this face, and I have other two faces there. And if this is not open, I have another face here. So what I can do is just to play with this and see how far I can push this rock here. I can just, you know, leave it here, just like that, and I can just rotate them just like this. Okay, and I can do the same here. I can just grab one of those, and because it's looking at a different angle, you will never think that it's the same rock. So I can just go here, and I can always try to put something like this. Put these things here if I want it. Other things that you might want to put, I have some roots here. I believe it's called roots. I hope so. I can just play with this, for example, like this. And I can just play with the roots like this so that we have some roots coming from the trees. Or for example, here you have like another root. You could try to hide this one and, you know, just play with this like this. Let's see how it looks like. We can just go here, and this one we can just rotate it. Okay, and here we can just rotate it like this, for example. And there you have like different roots. So you can blend it better by having like smaller roots here, just like this. Roots are always nice ways to decorate your environment. They're always nice additions that you can use. And here, like you could try to make this one like this, for example, just like that. And now in this area where you see this kind of open, we can go to our boulder here and just put something here. Nobody will notice. Just like that. There you go. And I love these roots. I feel like they are a great way to decorate your environment. Like if you have roots like this, we can just go ahead and, you know, just put them here in position. Just like that. They're like great way to decorate your environment. You can even make it like bigger. Something like that. And you can put this one lower. So now you have like a part that is like the left, it's a little bit different from the right. So you have like this part that is, you know, a little bit different, and this part is just a little bit different too. So what I can do now is just try to play with some boulders here. For example, I can try to play with another one. For example, this one, I can just put it here. I don't want to put everything too big, otherwise I will feel like everything is like so big. At this point, you may want to try and play your level. So if I play here, I want to check the scale, everything, if it's all right. Looks okay to me. Okay, this mesh, we forgot to delete it. Okay, something like that. Okay, I'm gonna do the same here. Like, it's really getting annoying. I can just duplicate this thing and just, you know, put it here in position and just try to put it like this. Yeah, something like that. And I can do the same here. I can just duplicate so that I can just have nicer blending here. The part on the on on the distance, I don't know if I will do it. I mean, you know how I will do it, so it's really there's really no point on doing it for you. But if you want, I can just try to just duplicate this thing and try to do it for you in case you want some help here, something like that. And then you can just duplicate these two meshes here. Just Alt and click and try to put it in this position here. I don't know if you noticed, but if one of your dreams was to make like environments and you feel like it's gonna be fun, and this part is what is giving you second thoughts, like it's not gonna be as fun as you thought, it's because you're right. It's not as fun as you would think. You need to repeat a lot of things. You need to duplicate, like fix a lot of these things, and it's just part of the job. So in case you're wondering like is this that boring, or am I doing something wrong? Yes, it is boring unless you create some tools, and that also takes time, so just keep that in mind. Okay. One thing I want to do, I want to add collision to this. I know I'm going from like different topics, but I'm gonna add collision. I'm gonna show you a different way to open it, to do it. So I just go to level, go to edit. So I will just edit this instance, and I will go here to the modeling tab, and here I can have like the volumes. So I can have like mesh to collision. So I can do this. Now it will take a while. Like I said, nanite meshes are not really friendly for games. Usually, the games are the only ones that needs to put collisions when you want to. If you want to play on them, you need collisions. So that's the sad part. So there you go. We can put like, instead of align boxes, we can put like convex holes. And this looks like it's gonna work. We can increase, like instead of combine all, or yeah, combine all and max count, we can put this like 50, or we can put like 2. Yeah, something like that. Let's accept. Okay, let's accept this, and now we can just go back. And now we should have some collision. So when I play my game here, now I can just go ahead and nice. I can just walk. And that's the beauty of this. And if I want to continue polishing, I will need to take care of these parts. I will need like to add more meshes and add this kind of stuff. It's really time consuming. But you already got the idea. So I'm just gonna focus on this part. So we're gonna keep decorating this. Okay, so let's keep adding more meshes. Let's just duplicate this thing a few times because I feel like I don't want to show this texture anymore. I mean, I can definitely improve it, like making like more vertex painting and this kind of stuff. But to be honest, if this does the work, then you don't need to change it. And I have already 2 meshes here. We can just put this one here. Notice that I'm always looking for things that are not symmetrical, okay? Like, for example, let me just take a screenshot here. What I have here is like the roots, and here I don't have roots. Here I have more grass, and here I don't, right? So this kind of asymmetry will make your scene look much more interesting. So this is what you're looking for. Let's go for this, and let's just duplicate this again. There you go, something like that. And also we can duplicate this one again. It's like this. And just rotate around. There you go. Something like that. So now that you have this, let's just add some main elements. We can grab, I believe I add some like this Japanese things. Like just type Japanese here in Bridge and you will have all these objects. So very simple. We're gonna put the most, we're gonna start from the big to the not so big. So we're gonna put these meshes here, and then we're gonna applicate them like this. There you go, just like this. And now we can go ahead and maybe you wanna try to put some of these candles here, you know, something like this. And you can always like rotate them if you want. Okay, we can go here and make sure it doesn't like collide with this thing, otherwise it's gonna look weird. Okay, and also just by doing this, I feel like I want to rotate this thing a little bit just so that the lines are a little bit better. So that's one thing. Let's see what else we can put. We have like these lions here. I feel like we can like put them here, and we can just make them a little bit bigger and just put them here and then rotate them, something like that. Okay, what else we have? Let's see what kind of assets. Oh, so we have this wooden table. It can be interesting. So everything will look very big now. If I play, I have these things that are really big, but these ones are quite small. So you need even more smaller elements. So for example, if I grab like this table here, I can just play with this and, you know, maybe put something like this, and then just duplicate this thing. We can have like some smoke here or something like that. What else? Oh, you don't want this. What else we can put? Let's see these ones. So these ones are like really small. Maybe we can put these smaller ones like here, for example. There you go. And now you can just go ahead and grab these two things and move them like this. Put them in position here. Or you can just be more precise once you have this part here. Yeah, this will also help you to you know, tell the scale of the environment. What else you have? Like you have these things here. You can just put them like this, and then maybe like some kind of top, I guess. Like you can just put things around. The idea is that, like for example, I feel this a little bit too much, so I will just remove it. The idea is that you always have some man-made elements to basically there you go, something like that. If I go here, I can just duplicate this one. I can just put it like this. There you go. I can do the same here. To add like more asymmetry, and I can just rotate this around. Usually that like if I take my reference, there are some like signs here. Usually like, oh, read this thing, whatever. There's some history. I am getting based on this reference that there's always some kind of this thing here, and then you have like a couple of those. But I'm not only stick to this, I can do whatever I want. Like you're also the artist, so feel free to choose. For example, like this thing, you can rotate it to have like more variation, right? And just by adding these things, like everything will look much nicer. Like I have a, like a little bridge here. I don't think I can use it, to be honest. Uh, like if I have like a small river or something like that, that would be nice. But the rest, oh, I can put a bucket here. For example, here I can just put this one here. I can also just like duplicate this thing and rotate it. Now, when you put objects, let's try to have some unity into this. What I mean by this is that objects are not alone, okay? You cannot just put the table like this without connecting it with other things. You need to put like man-made elements and things like that to make everything like look more, you know, more connected. So if I were to put like this thing here alone, it will just look very weird because nothing is supporting this idea. So as soon as I do this, I already have some items here that I can use. And let me see, I feel like this thing should have like a base there. There you go, it has a base. Let's just try to put it there so that we can see it. At this point, you want to be a little bit picky for where you want to put your things here. And also here, for example, you can just put things like that, and you know, just leave it like this. Okay. What else you have? You have like, for example, this tree here. Like if you don't want the player to go to another way, you can just put something like this. For example, I don't want the player to go more far than this, right? I just don't want. Make sure if you don't see your meshes, grab everything, load. There you go. Don't panic. So I can just go here and I can just make it super big. And that's it. Like you block the path. You cannot go there. And that's the way it is in games. You can like have more storytelling here. For example, you can have like a cut tree, and then you can have like you can have the same asset but smaller here if you want. Now wherever you put assets, make sure to always point in the right direction. Okay, so for example here I'm having a tree that is pointing into this direction here, and I also have this path here, and I also have these columns here, which everything points to go this way, which is exactly what I want. Whenever you create an environment, you need to guide the player where it needs to go. So now I can just put some rocks here. For example, I can put more emphasis into my environment. I can even go for like the destroyed look or something like this, but let's just keep it simple. What else you can put here? For example, you can put some other things like this. You don't really want to put the props alone, you want to put them with other things. For example, like this lantern here. You can just try and I don't know, just put it there, I guess. And always rotate things a little bit, something like that. And then we can just go ahead and just make it taller, for example, to have more variation here. There you go. Something like that. What else you can do? I think that's pretty much it for now. At this point, I want to stop like putting meshes and start playing with the light. So for example, if I press Ctrl L, you will see that you have so many different options here. Like you can go for this kind of lining, we can even go like completely dark, right? And we will be able to lead our environment just based on these things here. Let's play with the lining a little bit and the post-processing to check how our scene will look like after we add some other details that are not just meshes. I feel like the meshes are okay for now. Things could get improved, but for the moment I feel like it's doing a good job and I kind of like it. So let's just keep it that way. And also, like for example, this kind of thing, we can move it here so we can take a look at the at this at the roots here. There are a couple of things that we may want to do, but for now, let's just play our game. I have a feeling like it's okay. Like all these things need collision. Maybe I'm gonna add them and then I go here. Then suddenly I cannot go, but I do can go because I have collision. I don't have collision on this thing. So we're gonna add the collision later. It's a very simple thing, but it's something that a lot of people ask me. So I guess it's worth mentioning. Okay, so let's just put this thing here. Also, if you don't want like the players to really like run around your environment and they cannot just they cannot cross, you can just put meshes here, like for example like this one is like make it super big, and just like that you can just duplicate this thing, duplicate it just in the one direction, just like that, and then we can just put smaller meshes here. You can say that the player just got here by who knows why, right? But it's there. So at this point you can just make the floor a little bit more interesting, because what we did was most of the things we add were like in this part, and we have more details here, and here we don't have much, so we can just go here and we can even put like a destroyed one. I believe we have one here. Like one of these, for example, may be a good idea to put here to blend a little bit better with the roots and everything. Like you can just put it like this. I try to blend it a little bit with the roots you have here. That's nice. It's really nice. You can just put it like this. Now that's much better. Now I don't want to focus on the shot because most people do that, and I want to focus on a playable environment. Hopefully we can play this. Maybe I will do some tweaks on my side, but I feel like this is good enough, to be honest. Okay. Okay, so let's play with the post process a little bit. Okay, so I know that I said we're gonna do the post-processing, but there are a couple of things that are annoying me. And remember we talked about Unity? Unity is where, let's just say, like, you cannot just have these two things here, right? They need to connect somehow. And we already have like some meshes here, and we can try to put them here if we want to have like something like more real. Maybe from other angle you will see things like this, or maybe we can put a barrel or something. I think I have a barrel here. Let's use like barrel. Oh, we don't. Any case, we're gonna put some wood here. I already downloaded some wood planks here, so I will just put something like this, and I will just put it like in position here, just like this, and I can just go ahead and rotate it. And it doesn't need to be like in the same position. I can just go ahead and do something like this and rotate it like 90 degrees, 180, sorry, and then rotate it again. And now what I can do is just go here and just rotate 180 degrees for this kind of thing. There you go. And now what I have, it's a pattern. So what I can do is just rotate things around to make it look more interesting. I can even remove some of those. I can just put something like this, for example, more large, or maybe some of them like this. Maybe this one thinner, this one thinner maybe, and we can just put something like this. And then we can put like another one here, like smaller, just like this. We can just maybe something like that. Okay, so now that I have this, I can just go ahead and select all of those. And what I will do is to right click and create pack level actor. I will put OK here. I will put mass, I don't know, wood plants. And then I will go to the BPP folder, save this. And now what I have here is an object that I can just use over and over again. Like I can just go here and just try to put it in position here. I can just go ahead and do something like this. And just by doing that, I'm already like combining different elements in your scene. And it's gonna look much better when we put it like here, for example. We can put like some wood planks. It will look much more interesting compared to only concrete, because it's all about the elements. We have, for example, one is the nature, two is the stones. We have a lot of stone here, stone, but we don't have much wood. Like we have a little bit of wood here, but if we put it on the floor too, it will look much more interesting. So what I can do is connect this part with another one. I can just go back here and I can just put it like this, something like that. And I can just rotate this around if I don't like it, and put something like this. Not here. I can just something like this, for example. There you go. No, that looks much better in my opinion. Let me just rotate a little bit and put it in position. There you go. And you can even like delete this part if you want. Another thing I want to add, it's the background. I can go here and find my massive terrains. There are some massive terrains we can use. I already download them, so what I will do is just try to put them in the in the background. It will be very easy. Let's just type massive. Do I have it? This is maybe it's terrain. Yeah, there you go. So I can, for example, grab this one, and you will see that everything turns like in shadow. It's because this terrain is super big. Let's just go here and just move it a little bit. Move it. Keep moving it. You see it's so big, right? So if we take a look at this, we can just always go here and then just put it in the background and make it a little bit bigger and put it like this. Something like that. And I can just duplicate this thing. And I can just play with this. I can just put it here, for example, if I want, and then go ahead and do the same here. Alt click and then just duplicate this stuff. So now when I hit play, you will see that I have a background here. And this is exactly what helps you to break, the illusion that you're in the game. Now, if you don't see them just like I'm doing right now, just make sure you load everything. Okay, right click, load everything in word partition. I'm gonna do the same here. Like I'm just gonna surround this thing, like just surround all this. And I can even do like more variation, put in another mesh, but I'm not even sure if I'm gonna see it anyway. So if I just play here, like for example, I don't see it and I do want to see it. So let's just go to my word partition and load the region. Yeah, and definitely I don't see it. So what I will do is just to make this one like this and move it up just like that. So when I go here, you can see like I still have some background, which is what I want. So when I play here, you will see that I still have my background there. So that it doesn't feel much like CG now, like a little bit, but anyway. Now that we have this, notice that we have stairs here. We don't want you. There you go. Let's play with the lining. So for the lining, I will just grab a post-process volume here. Go to the green plus icon, then go to visual effects, and then go to post-process. And I will just leave it like this. The first thing you need to do is to check unbound. Otherwise, it's gonna only affect when my player goes here. Okay, that's the first thing. Let me move this thing here. Put it like this. Okay, so let's go here. The bloom, it's a nice one. I like it, especially for games. Bloom makes it look like, I don't know, kind of my like more fantasy, right? It's very nice. Like you have the intensity. You can have the convolution bloom if you want, or the standard one. For me, I think I will just go for something like super low, like this. Check how it looks like without. Not too much bloom. Okay. Then the next is the exposure. You can make it like, this is the big thing. Like if you can change the exposure and everything, for example, you can put this one, you can change the number. It will change a lot of things. Okay. Yeah, and it takes a while to go back. So you can play with this a little bit just to make it look like less shiny. By default it's 1. If you put something like 5, it will look like super high. You can put manual instead of having like you know, you can have like one lining instead of having like different lining scenarios for each kind of thing. It's nice. I find like 10 can be a good thing. Maybe 11. 11 looks like a nice number. Okay, let's just keep it at manual for now. Chromatic aberration, I will put it and you will see what it does. It's just basically something like this. Okay, and just put it like this. It's a little bit, you don't want, whenever you play with the post process, you don't want to like put super strong values. You want just a little bit. Subtlety is the key here when doing post process things. You have the lens flares, which if I see the sun, where is it? There you go. I can see some lens flare. Like the sun is here, which is weird. I kind of don't like it, but we can change the lining with Control L, and we can play with this until we have something like that. For example, that's much better in my opinion. Looks much more interesting. We can go here to the directional light, and we can just change the rotation here in the y-axis. That's one thing you may want to change. The next one is the z-axis. For example, you can go for something like this, where the lining is coming like from this angle. Or you could move it here so that the light is like coming. It shouldn't come from here, it's like come from the other side. But anyway, I kind of like this one. Like I have like light in the left, and in the right I have shadow, which is what I want. So I will just go back to my post-process volume. Okay, post-process and lining goes hand to hand. So let's just keep going. Image effects, thickness. Yeah, we can put some thickness intensity. You can see what it does. Like I can put like 0.3 or something like that. Depth of field, it's very good. I feel like they changed the settings. Maybe, I'm not sure. Like this one of these settings is gonna change like the distance here. Let's just take a look at there you go, something like this, and let's just play with the distance. So if we play like 1000, 2000, too much, so let's just back here and 0.1, 110, 100. And let's just play with the radius here. Yeah, so like this, like the parts that are in the far distance will be like more blur, which is cool. Let's just try to change this. If you put like 50, it's too much. 100, 500, it's very sharp. Yeah, like this, like it's a little bit blurry in the background. You may want that. Okay, let's check the color temperature now. Okay, what's this? Fail to save. Continue. Whatever. Let's save again. Okay, cancel. I don't know which asset is this, but anyway. Let's just go back here. Temperature, we can change like the temperature. You want warmer or cooler. I feel like cool will be nice. Cooler environment. Okay. Global. This one is one of the most powerful ones. You can change like the saturation of everything. Like everything will be like super saturated if you want, or you can go for less saturated look. That's something you're looking for. Also, you can change the saturation. Like for example, I don't want the greens and I don't want the blues. And what I will have here is something very interesting. Only my Tori will have like this color. And actually I can put the blues a little bit. Actually, I can just remove it, and my Tori will be the only thing that have pretty much color, except for the rest, which is really cool. So I'm gonna leave this as an alternative shot for later. Contrast will be how much contrast you want. As a tip, the more contrast you have, the less real you become. So if you have like something like this, is like too much fantasy. So 1, it's okay. 1.9 maybe. Remember, do not go to extremes. Gamma, basically how the light of your environment, I will keep it at 1. The shadows, you can also change like the shadow saturation, or maybe you can increase the blues only, something like that, or maybe the reds on the shadows, like you will have more shadows from the red color popping out. Okay, then the contrast, of course, you will have more contrast in the shadows. I'm just gonna leave it like that. Midtones does the same, like anything that is like a kind of grayscale. So for example, if we saturate this, all basically pretty much all the midtones except for this red color is gonna be changed. Highlights, we can put saturation. For example, we can increase the red one, or just decrease the saturation for these ones. The highlights are usually like here where the light comes in. You can just increase the saturation and you will have something like this for the highlights. Not really something that I will like to play with a lot, but anyway, you have the option. Okay, let's just go back. There are a lot of things you can play with here. The film is another important one. You have the slope. So if I just change the slope here, you will have like much more maybe realistic environment. Usually you are looking for something like more contrasty or things like that. Global illumination, lumen, we don't change this kind of things. That's pretty much it. Now you can increase the grain intensity too. The more grain you have, the more like you can have more specifics, like grain in the in the shadows, in the midtones, or in the highlights. Just leave it like that. So weird. Okay, and that's it. Let's just play our game. See how it feels like. Look at that. It's a little bit, it has too much grain in my opinion. So I will go here, and grain intensity, I will just put something like this. Now when I play from here, Now you will see that I have like much less grain, which is okay. I have a little bit of blur. Now this kind of things you can always fix it by just putting more trees there. I don't want to do that. If I go here, like I have maybe too much motion blur, but you know it's working. So nice. What I want to do now is to try and play with the atmosphere a little bit. So to play with the atmosphere, we just need to go here. The first thing, I'm gonna play with my directional light here. And now I'm going here. I can try to play with the intensity. If I don't like this, for example, I can put this like 6 or 1. And this will give me more like a night scene, which allows me to be more creative and have like lights here coming from the inside of this mesh or something like that, right? Things like that. I can just increase the radius if I want, or increase the intensity, and also change like the color. Can put something like green, like super. If you're having like red here, having like green will like make your scene look better. And just go here and we can play with this all the day. So let me just delete this, and the directional light I want to put something like 8, because 10 I feel like it's a little bit too much. Let's just play with 5 to see how it looks like. It's very plain, so I will go for 8. Okay, so let's save it. Okay, so what else you can change? You can change like the temperature. You can change like cooler or warmer. I like the warmer. Although the cool will actually make your scene look like maybe more balanced, because we already have a lot of reds here. But I feel like the warm color really fits this. And we can even go here and change like the lining a little bit. We can go for something like this. Okay. I feel like I created a light. Yes, I did. Later we can create more lights there. Let's just play with a directional light. What else we can do here? We can go to the light shaft occlusion. We can click here and then click the shaft loop. So what happens is, if I check this, I will have the light shaft. So this will look much better if I just go here and just play with the lining here. And you will see that I have my light shaft just like this. And it works great when it's like in like something like this, like sunset. There you go. You can see the light shafts here. Something like this. And something like that. And we can even go for something like this and put something like 13 to make it like 20. And you will have like much more like a different look here. I'm not going for that. So let's just go back to the lining we have. I think it's working for now. What else we can do? I think that's pretty much it. Let's go back to the atmosphere. And here we can change like I can change the sky luminance factor to be something like this color here, like more bluish. And I can decrease the saturation a little bit if I want. Okay, you can also change like this thing, but it will like super alien. I don't really want that. Okay. Next thing you want to change is the fog. So you can increase the fog density. You can see that without the fog, everything looks super contrasty. You don't really want that. So we can increase the fog density, and also here you have like the extinction scale. If you put too much, you will have like a lot of fog. That depends on you. You also have like the albedo of the fog. Have like something like green or something like this. That really depends on you. Okay. and also the view distance, where you're gonna start seeing this thing. Uh, next thing is the skylight. For the skylight, basically, you can either use a cube map. So for example, I can choose a cube map, and then I should have like this one, for example. In this case, I won't have the real-time capture of the whole scene. Or for desert, or something like that. I will just put the real-time capture, and also like the intensity. Let's check it with 0 how it looks like. It looks like this, likes to match. So we can just play with this, and also the light color, we can go for something like blue if we want, right? It will. I think it's a nice touch if we put something like blue. We can have like blue shadows. This can be very obvious if we put like 5 here. You can see what's going on. If we put 0, we put 1, all our shadows now are blue, which is nice. This is what we want. Okay. I think that's pretty much it. What we're gonna do now is just to basically have some smaller details, and then call it a day for now. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is to optimize the texture size, because honestly 8K for all these things, we don't really need it. And one way we can do it is we go to our static meshes here, and let's go to all of them, and we can just grab basically all of them and change the texture resolution from 2K from 8K to 2K. So let's see how it goes. We're just gonna grab all of those, and basically what I'm trying to do is to change. Sorry, we're not gonna go here. We're gonna go to the texture here. There you go, and we're gonna go all the way here. And actually, we can change all the textures, right? So what I'm trying to do is to change this property here. And you see that I have a 8K texture. If I go to if I type max, you will see maximum texture size. I can put 2048, and you will see that this will change, and now we use much less resource size, like 3000 kilobytes. Without it, we use 49,000, which is a lot. So we don't need this, and we're gonna change all of them. I won't go through one by one because we're gonna get crazy here. So what I will do is, let me just filter this by texture, and I can just go through all of them just like this, then right click, and then asset actions, and then go to bulk edit via property matrix. Okay, now if you go here, you will see that you can actually select all of them. So let's go to all of this, and now we can just type max. Maximum texture size, I want all my textures to be 2048. Now this is gonna take some time, so I will pause the video, and when it's finished, I will come back. So all the objects are finished now, and you can see now. Let's see how it goes. It's a little bit better, to be honest, but still, one of our biggest trouble is these trees here and the grass. So what we're gonna do is to do the same for the 3D plants and this one. So let's go to this one first. Let's just change everything here. We can change, like, for example, I'm gonna try to change all of this. We're not really gonna change the time. Actually, we could change the imposter cards. Okay, let's do that. Let's just select everything. Let's go to right click, asset actions, bulk edit, and then we're gonna select all of them with shift here, then type max, and then we're gonna put something like 2048. Okay, by default, it's gonna reduce this to the maximum texture size here. So it's gonna take a while. I'm gonna pause and then I will come back. Okay, so now that I have this, I will put my maximum texture size to 2K, 2048. And it's saving, so let's wait a little bit. Okay, so it's finished, and let's see. Yeah, like nothing has changed really. Pretty much the same. Let's go back and let's do the same for our plants. We're going here. Let's go through all of them and then go to asset actions, bulk edit, and then we will put max here. And maybe for this one, we want to put like 124 at most because it's like really small. Okay, so now what I will do is I'm gonna save everything and then I will come back when it's finished. Okay, so I finished reducing the texture size of all my objects. It took more than what it looks like in the video because I just pause it, but normally it just takes like a few minutes there. Why I don't see much improvement, it's because texture size, while it's an important aspect, it's not our bottleneck. How do we know this? We just go to optimization view modes. We can go here, for example, to light complexity. Here we can see if we have a lot of lighting. For example, I can just put a light here, like press L, okay? And then when I go here to my optimization view modes and go to light complexity, you will see that as I continue to duplicate these lights, it becomes more and more complex to the point it becomes white. So you don't really want that. But in our case, our lighting is very simple, so it's very easy to render. So the problem is not there. Let's go back here. Then shader complexity. Yeah, this is fairly cheap actually. Most of the meshes are actually between just green, and this one is bad, but you know, it's not that bad. Then the next thing you want to require texture resolution doesn't work with nanite, but it's a really nice feature. In our case, we don't really need it because we're using virtual textures, which I turn it on before I start the project. And in my case, quad overdraw, and look at this. Now we see the bottleneck here. Basically, what we're seeing here, it's all these meshes here. We're seeing some quad overdraw, okay? The purple ones are like really bad, okay? So there are a couple of things we can do. One thing is to reduce the triangle count. This will help us to do it, help us to reduce a little bit, right? The other thing is just try to not put so many trees next to each other. For example, this one, we can just remove it if we want it, okay? For example, let's delete this one. As you can see, my FPS already increased a lot. So let's check another one here, for example, this one or this one, right? Like we can remove this one if we want it so that we don't have quad overdraw. So one thing we can do to reduce it is just to reduce the triangles. So if I take a look at what are the trees that I'm using, I put a bunch of trees here because it's like I prefer to just use them than using the foliage tool, just so that I can put them manually. So what I can do is to press Ctrl B to find it and then just drag it here, okay? So what I can do is to reduce the triangle count. It's very easy. I'm just going here. I'm going here to my modeling mode, select this, and what I will do is to go here and then go to simplify. And it will take a while to load because this is a very heavy mesh. So I will pause the video and come back. So now that I finished loading, you will see that I have like this thing is loading here. I want to put like maybe 35% of reduction for the triangles. And as soon as I do that, it will take some time to load. Like it will basically try to calculate how much triangles I need. So what I will do is just go here and then wait for it to finish, and then I will come back. Okay, so now you can see that my tree, it's actually much more simplified, and I still have the silhouette. So what I will do is just accept, and these changes will be applied, and new nano generation will be created for this new mesh that, well, it's the same mesh, but it has just less polygons. So let's wait for it and let's see how our scene looks like. Okay, so it's finished. Now let's delete this one. We don't need this anymore. And look at this. So now our frames per second are increasing a lot, actually. So what I will do is to do the same for the rest of the trees that we're using here. So if I take a look, we're using this one, and maybe we're using this one here. So I will do the same for these two and for all the trees that I've been using, and then I will come back and show you the new frames per second. Okay, so I finished simplifying the stuff, and basically there is some small improvements. I can go and simplify more, but if I go here to the optimization view modes and then go to quad overdraw, there's still some of them that could be like more simplified, like this one, for example. I could do it even more if I wanted, but for the sake of this tutorial, we're just gonna leave it like that. Okay, I'm happy with basically 30 FPS just for now. Okay, so that's great. Next thing I want to do is to basically create some collisions for these meshes. So it's gonna be very easy. I will show you two ways. I can either go and double click on this, and then I can open the static mesh editor, and here I can just click apply. And what this will do is just create some collisions for me. So if I press Alt C, you will be able to see some collisions that I have. Or I can either go to here, player collision, and now you don't see the collision here because I have pressed Alt C. There you go. So now I can see which elements need collision. And this one, for example, like if you were to do the collision here, it will try to do a like a convex one here, just like this. It works in this case. So let's just save this. But in some cases, you want more precise collision, you can use the modeling tools for that. I will use it like for example, for this, just in case, like you want to know how to use the modeling tools. Or let's just say, yeah, maybe this one. So let's go to this one. And now we're gonna go here to the mesh to collision. And it's gonna take a while because it's a very heavy mesh. But basically what it's gonna do is I will have a bunch of other options that usually I don't have with the default collisions that I got in the static mesh editor. So let me just go here to the lead mode. So this white box will be my collision. You see, it's very simple. It's not what I want, but what I can go is to go here and change this to maybe by mesh component, or maybe my mesh groups. Okay, and also I can go here to the convex hulls, and this will give me a more representative collision of what I wanted. I can go here, instead of per input objects, I can use like per mesh component, and basically I will have the same. I can just combine all. Okay, or per mesh component, that can work. Okay, then I can just change the hull fade like 50 if I want it, or like 10. I will just go for 20. Okay, then I just click accept, and this will give me a basically a much it will give me more control to do the collisions here. Let's just wait a little bit for this to load. There you go. So let's go back here and let's go to player collision, and let's just double click on this and let's just add some collisions. Very simple collisions here. Just using the default settings, you can already have very good collisions. Just hit apply here. Normally, I never teach how to do collisions because it's something super simple, right? But a lot of people just ask a lot of questions like how to do this kind of thing. For this one, for example, I want a little bit more of a more precise collision. And honestly, Unreal does a very good job when making collisions. This one, for example, for objects like this, maybe you just want to add a box collision. You don't want anything else. Like, this works just fine. What else is missing? You see that this one is purple. The reason is it's using complex collision as simple, and that's more expensive. So we don't really want that. So we're going here, and we're going here to edit, and we're just gonna put the collisions for this one. So for example, this one can be like a, I don't know, like a box. I can just hit apply, and make sure here you go to complex and then put the project default. Okay, so now when I press Alt C, you won't see the complex collision here. We can do the same here. We can just double click, and if you have like your computer is getting slow, that's because you have many static mesh editors open. So just keep that in mind. Let's go for this one and do the same, like put a complex collision here, and this one will be like a box. That should be good enough. And then this one's we can just remove the collision. We don't really need it. Go to complex collision, remove it. I don't really need to add collision to this. And for this one, I also don't need to add it. But just in case, we will just go here and apply. Create something like this. It's not too accurate, but it does the job. So let's go back here and let's do another complex collision and put it like this. And then just go to collision and put box here. Oh, we can just leave it like this, to be honest. It's a little bit of a time consuming. So let's go back here and we can stop the changes. We don't really need to. There's nothing to change here. We're not modifying this. So if I go here to the lead mode, player collision, you will see that I have a lot of things here. I can do the same here. I will apply collision here. And you saw that you can take a look at, you know, what we are doing. Basically, you need to do this over and over for games. Like, you can just go here, apply collision, basically find any object that is like bothering you, apply collision. Let's go here, apply collision again. There you go. This one I already have. This one I don't really need. Let's see what else is missing. Collision. The trees already have collision. That's a good thing, actually. Especially when they're a static mesh, they come with collision. Otherwise, these ones won't have because it's like foliage, but the player won't go there anyway. Okay. Awesome. So let's save everything and now let's play our game. Okay, so let's add a little bit of detail here. I want to add some grass. So if I go to the bridge and then I go to home here, I already download some grass patches here. Like you can see this grass here, the Kikikuyu grass, this Nordic grass. We're gonna use them. Okay, so it's very easy. We're just gonna paint here. So let's go to the foliage, and when I add them, you will have this folder here for each grass. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is just go here to the foliage mode and make sure you don't select anything here. Okay, automatically they will add the grass actors into your foliage mode if you import. So what I will do is just import all this, check this, all these grass patches. Okay, you can also check this one to have more variation. Okay, and let's just paint. Let's just decrease the size to something like this, or maybe like 50. We will try to put it like here. Okay, and let's see what happens when we paint. Okay, so it's very small, which is what I expected. Let's decrease the density to like 50, and then the uniform scaling from 1 to 2 maybe. Let's see, something like that. Yeah, something like that could work. Okay, so let's just paint this, and let's see what happens if we paint like 4. Yeah, something like that. You can see that adding this grass here and there will actually help you to sell more your environment. Grass is a very important part of game development in general. And it's nice that you can use these grass patches to basically patch anything. So we can put like 250 here, and you can just paint here a little bit. We can go back to 50, and let's just paint here, just like that. Awesome. And just by doing that, we're already having some grass here. Now let's try to add more variation here. So let's check all of this and deselect them, and we can try to have some of those like this, and check the size to 3 maybe, and let's see what happens when we paint. It's a little bit too high, so let's put like 1.8. And just by putting this, we're already having some like flowers here with some reddish tones that we can use. Because all our scene is like green, we want to put some red values here. And these are great. This is a great way to add more variation to your environment. You see, just by adding this, we are balancing this green thing. I'm gonna show you what I mean. So if I go here, let me go to a material, just any material here. Okay, so and then I put the, let me put the color here. As you can see here, the green and the red are opposites. Okay, so all our scene is kind of green, and that's because we're using the grass. But not only that, our Tori is red. So what we need to keep in mind is we need to balance these two. And because the red is such a strong color, we're trying to balance a little bit. And when we add the grass here and put a little bit of red, we automatically are putting like more balance into our scene. Now, how do you know when a scene is balanced? It's very abstract thing. You just need to feel it. Like you see it and, oh yeah, this feels better. Just like when you're playing the piano and you listen to one note and it's like, you know, one, and then you play another one, and then it just feels off. It's the same with color. You just put it and just go with your gut feeling. Okay, even if you are not applying like all this theory and this kind of stuff. Let's add another bit of variation. I want to extend this thing. Like for example, I want to move this a little bit here. I want to move it like this, just like that. Okay, so that we can have like our 3 branches like this, like there, an extension of it. That's great. And we can play with this here. Like we can just copy and try to put it in another position here, rotate it, And just by adding all these tree branches, we're adding like more variation into here. I feel like I want to put like more like destroyed feelings into this area. We're getting into the parts of the process where things are not really like let's just say we're getting into more details and storytelling, like where like, oh, this tree branch like really got out of hand, right? So here we can just rotate things a little bit, and I'm sure we can change this one with Control B. You can see where is it. Let's just press Control B. Let's just open this one and put the static mesh here, and then go to 3D assets, and let's just try to find a broken floor. Not this one. We're gonna find a broken one. Yeah, something like this. Like, for example, we can put this, and we can try to put it like here, and this will blend much better with this. We can just remove this if we want, and just put this thing here. There you go. Something like that feels much better to me, and I can just go ahead and, you know, put it like this. Now that feels much better. Now we can add more detail. We can just put some decals here. So if you go to bridge, you can see that you also have like decals here. I have added some debris here, like fallen leaf, more leaf, and a bunch of leaves basically. So what I can do now is just go to the decals, and I can just go here and put material instance, which I already have here in my filter, and I can just grab this. For example, I can put my asphalt here, like it's broken. That's nice. And we can also play with the leaf here. For example, here we can put a little bit of leaf here. We can put this one is too much, I think. We can go for another one, maybe something like this. And let's try here. We can also put the leaves here, and we can rotate them if we want. Not really pretty, so let's just delete it, and let's just put more. Like, let's see, where do we want to put these things? Maybe here. Yeah, here for sure. And just by adding this, you see how we can start adding like more details and things like that. Now, you notice that my frames are a little bit low, and this is expected. If you don't see the frames here, it's because I have it in my properties. I think I have this in my editor preferences. Let me see if I can find it. Like FPS, maybe? Show that's something like that. I'm not exactly sure where I did it. I did this a long time ago, but if you don't see this, you can go here and then go to show FPS, and you will see that we're ranging from 20 something to 30 FPS. That's not ideal. We should always go above 30 whenever possible, otherwise it's gonna get a little bit laggy. But this is also understandable because all these things are like 8K textures, okay? Let me just delete this guy. Where you came from? There you go. All these things are like 8K textures, and basically we don't want that for games. We want to make this scene playable. I will basically put this scene to download, okay, so you can just play around with it if you want. But what I will do now is optimize it a little bit. So maybe some of you don't have like a very strong computer, and also if you want to learn how to optimize, I will show you some tips now. Okay, so we did it. We have like a playable scene that we can just play with. So let's play our scene and let's take a look at it. Nice. So we can just play from here. And we can just walk a little bit. Everything has like collision. Nice. We can just walk around a little bit. Weird things are happening to this mannequin. And just go here. And when you add collision, like everything feels much nicer now. Okay. This is just a small example of what you can do with Unreal Engine. I hope this has been useful to you. If you want to learn more about Unreal, make sure to check our channel. We have plenty of tutorials that you can take a look. We have like blueprints, modeling, more environment tutorials, VFX, animation. We have a lot of things to cover in our channel. So make sure to check them out. And if you have an idea of what any other kind of video you want us to make, just let us know in the comments, and we may do a video about it. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.